Hello dear friends, hallo ihr Lieben, herzlich willkommen zu meinem Podcast Beziehungszeit. Welcome to my podcast Beziehungszeit, what is called time for relationships or time for relating. I really want to welcome you. And today I want to invite you to come on a journey in the life of Michael, who is a Russian man I met in India, and he's a psychotherapist and had a own story of really much suffering and made his way through all those offers and things that exist in our world. And he's speaking very honest and very true about what for him was helpful, what was really not helpful, how he sees the whole business. And also gives, for me, very nice solutions and opportunities how you can deal with things, with trauma, with suffering. I have the feeling with this interview you can really get a feeling for, those things exist and they are working like this, and you can get a better feeling of what could be maybe your way or your first steps in improving or in dealing with the things that you're suffering with or that you're dealing with. And so I really like it because it really gives new perspectives I did not know and really gives a good picture, I would say. And so if this might be a topic for you, then just stay here and enjoy. And I make a short introduction also in German, so please wait for 1 minute and then we start right away with the interview. Thank you and enjoy. Ja, genau, das Interview heute ist mit meinem lieben Freund Michael, der aus Russland kommt und den ich in Indien kennengelernt habe. Und es ist eine Reise durch seine psychotherapeutischen Erfahrungen und auch seine eigene Reise mit dem Trauma, das er einfach hier erleben musste. Und er teilt sehr ehrlich und sehr offen, was für ihn wirklich hilfreiche Methoden sind, mit Trauma umzugehen, gerade wenn es wirklich auch ein schwereres Trauma ist, und was für ihn nicht so hilfreich war. Und gibt auch so ein bisschen einen Leitfaden oder zum einen dieses Bild, was es für Möglichkeiten gibt auf dem Markt, dass man einfach so genauer weiß, okay, mit Trauma arbeiten bedeutet nicht nur über Gespräche zu arbeiten, es kann auch ganz anderes bedeuten. Und da gibt er einen guten Einblick in die Möglichkeiten, die es gibt, und auch so ein bisschen einen Leitfaden, wie er empfehlen würde, anzufangen, wenn du einfach mit dir selber da mehr umgehen möchtest und mit dir selber da einen Weg finden und gehen möchtest oder vielleicht auch musst, weil die Umstände einfach so sind, dass es das erfordert. Genau, ich hoffe, dass es inspirierend für dich ist und wünsche dir jetzt eine wundervolle Reise in die Welt von Heilung. You look so serious. Thank you that you said yes, that we can make this interview. I'm really happy because I felt it so much. And who are you?
I'm from the US, West Coast, United States of India. For the last 1 year, West Coast, Goa, and a bit of Northern. Actually, I'm from Russia, so I do integral therapy that combines classic therapy and body-oriented and using trance and meditative and yogic practices and altered states.
What were the main chapters in your life until now?
Before psychology and before spiritual traditions was the first part of the life. Then spiritual traditions from 19 or something was the second part of life, or second life. I used to call it like last life and like that, number them. Then the next life was psychology and psychotherapy. Somewhere around 24, I started to study Gestalt therapy, and before I was doing some of that, and not only Gestalt, so that was the third part of the life. And after that, I think body-oriented thing could be the next part, because it was very different from this talking, sitting, though we had some bits of body-oriented stuff there in our Gestalt, but I mean, it's compared to how much embodied processes or just time or the amount of practice that we used to do there in contact improvisation, or it's like 100 times, like physically. It's not like too much of over evaluation. It was like really like about like, I don't know, 100 times. So it's just it's just different thing. So basically there was the next life, and the next life was altered states. It was just, it's like somewhere from 27 or yeah, somewhere 27, 28, and yeah, it was like maybe probably one of the most mind-blowing thing. Yeah, like that. And then everything was like normal, like the last couple of years, like 3 or something, I was just doing all the stuff. Yeah, probably like that.
Nice. What is altered states?
Practices that give states that people call altered. It can be holotropic breathing, or kundalini awakening, or sensory deprivation, or substances. Also, near-death experiences also give altered states, and many other ways.
How would you describe, or what does, for example, breathwork really make, and how does it help to solve processes or also substances, or what's the impact that it can have?
So probably about substances, we won't discuss substances, but we will discuss altered states overall, because they are pretty similar. And well, somebody call it microscope, or like what do you call this doctor who cut body? So it's like directly going into the real shit, not roaming around. You just directly go to the very essence of your consciousness, and it really works in a way like microscope, because you see directly things that are impossible to see or perceive by this normal state, because this normal state is closed for like 98% from real exploration. So we are kind of like those, I don't know, monkeys who jump around some computer and try to touch it or to press some shit here and there. They don't go into the this whole devices, micro schemes. So it's like this, I think. And they give all possible levels of consciousness. You can travel through like anything, and it's like you can go into trauma, really go into and relieve, and have resource to process it, like really. I mean, if you've done like 10 years of body-oriented trauma work, or if you have done only without body-oriented, because like a lot of people now, they do speaking therapy, and it's like, yeah, that's the way we work with the trauma, and that's it. So it's very limited, politically saying.
That's also my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. That maybe some parts of psychotherapy are good and helpful, but there's very much shit. That
Yeah,
just
we're talking about
destroys.
psychiatry.
Yeah.
And psychotherapy is, depending on what you put into the term, it can be a different thing. But sometimes they unite psychotherapy as medical psychotherapy, and then it's also about pharmaceuticals. So, getting back to the topic of altered states or body-oriented, it just gives like way more of trauma, like real trauma work. And for example, if you take Peter Levine, like Jesus of body-oriented trauma therapy, do you know him? Yeah, but it gives like around maybe 30% of like really working out the trauma. If you work, depending on how many years you work, but probably it will give something. If you work hard, it can give you like probably 40, I don't know, it's like very rough. So it's very limited still, because it's even less, just very rough evaluation. That's why the altered state therapy exists, and they really do serious stuff there, and they really get into the trauma, and even that stuff works for some people. They like to advertise like, wow, 3 sessions and he's like out of his depression or PTSD or something. Sometimes, for some people probably, for some people it will be like 50 sessions and they will not finish their trauma yet. So even with the most powerful technologies or methods, often it takes fucking long time to heal the like pretty severe trauma.
No, thanks. How would you describe Gestalt therapy?
So basically it's a classic therapy. It's part of existential approach or humanistic existential approach. Somewhere there he can be placed, and basically it's just classic therapy with some little fancy things here and there. So it has some special stuff, but I mean, compared to like really different things like body-oriented or altered states or mindfulness maybe based, can be like more close to Gestalt. Yeah, it's hard for me to give some subtle characteristics of Gestalt compared to psychoanalysis or basic existential or humanistic or cognitive behavioral, because it's like subtle stuff. So basically it's just classic therapy. You just sit and you just speak. Maybe you get a little bit more aware of present moment and feelings, and they have some, of course they have some emphasis on the body, but like in fact, unless the person is like really body oriented and he does like really body oriented Gestalt, unless this, if he's like into the more mainstream Gestalt, he will be not so much body oriented. Yeah, in a way, all of them now is very trendy to ask about feelings and body and shit and embodiment. It's like everywhere. And it's like a basic package of body-oriented therapy, but it's like basic. They don't go into like very intense or very long or very deep, because they speak quite a lot usually in Gestalt therapy still, unless it's like really body-oriented Gestalt. So yeah, compared with those hundreds of hours of contact improvisation or something, or authentic movement, is still not very body-oriented. And when I started doing contact, I was like fucking blown away. I was like, Gestalt is about contact. So you hear the word contact in Gestalt therapy education, like every second word is contact. Because they all talk about contact, and it's like very essential. From the whole party, Gestalt party of our 1 million people city, it's like not a little city, it's like 1 million. We have some party, it's like, I don't know, 200 something Gestalt guys here and there, maybe 300, maybe 4. I think like 4 or 5 people used to go to contact improvisation. And the interesting thing is that in this body-oriented style, you really feel all those things that you used to explore, that you usually explore in verbal contact. You feel them like very much into non-verbal space, and it's like very intensive. It's sometimes very clear and powerful. And so overall, contact improvisation gives so much about contact that those 3 years of talking about contact, projections, stuff that breaks contact, it's like also like strange in a way. Do the shit, don't talk about the shit like that. Every Gestalt therapist should go to contact improv and study the whole shit there. Okay, that's it. That's the truth of life.
Thanks. Yeah, not everybody is ready at every time for the best things for oneself.
In a way.
Yeah.
And especially altered states. I mean, of course, everybody has the right to do his approach, and that's all, and not to go to other approaches. But when world changes and somehow there emerges some approach that is like fucking crazy, it's like it changes everything. I don't know.
Yeah. We have so much fighting because of different opinions. So I would say you can have your opinion, and people who like your opinion can choose to go to you. And people who like maybe more old-fashioned style, or maybe they are not ready for something deeper, can choose something else if they feel this.
Probably a bit another way around, because if we just take like somebody who is like really suffering and who doesn't have a lot of money, and he comes to the industry, and he's like, guys, I'm fucking suffering, can you please offer me some nice shit? And they're like, yeah, of course, here's Gestalt, here's psychoanalysis. You will spend like 100,000 euro for like 5 years. You will suffer all those 5 years. You will fix like 30% of your traumas and stuff. And he's like, yeah, cool, deal. Or probably somebody will say, okay, boy, we have some real program for you. It will take like half a year or something. We will give you like real instruments. Of course, all of them, because when they get into the system, they work best in the system. Like altered states and classic therapy and Bodyoriented, like together they are like really they blessed. So if the industry would be like very honest and clear, and it's not about this planet and this culture or humanity, it's just opposite here. So if it would have been like this, and he could choose. If he's not ready, he gets into microdosing. If he's not ready for microdosing, he studies what is microdosing and what are dangers or something, and he studies, for example, also the dangers of those pills, antidepressants, and if it would have been clear also it's not about this planet or culture, it would be obvious that those plant medicines are like highly safe, and those chemicals in all those medical hospitals and places, they're like fucking dangerous, and that's it, and that's all. So the main idea is that you can make almost everybody ready if you really explain. And what you said, it's one of arguments of those creepy guys. They say about not ready or other things. No, you can make people ready. You just should do it like nicely. But the main thing, and we are talking about like serious traumas. Like if you don't have like serious shit, you can do like every stuff, any stuff. You can do Gestalt, you can do bioenergetics, you can do yoga, meditation. It doesn't fucking matter, because if your neurosis and trauma is like mild, yeah, light, mild, something like light. So you basically don't suffer so much, and you can do anything. It will work. So if we are talking about like middle or severe trauma or like extra severe trauma, and if we are talking about suicidal guys, and this is like my very main interest in life, and this is like really special force guys who really have to work, really have to get their asses up and really work, because just because they have to survive. So the thing is, for them, even this most powerful stuff can take some time, can take along for some like it's hard to generalize, and they have the studies in Europe and US about altered state therapy, and it helps in a way. Also, they are like a bit messy, and when they do it like very officially, statistics and all the data and all the test design, so it's messy in a way. They can make some more successful results. It's like very messy how they try to measure the healing potential or efficiency of therapy. And we should get into like very details just to understand how really effective is it. Otherwise, if we talking like a bit of generalizing, it's kind of messy in a way, kind of maybe expressive in a way, and correct in a way, but still. So the thing is, for some of them, they say it's like very effective, and they can like really heal people in a couple of sessions, like 3-5. Oh. But what I have seen and my experience is that like I've done something like 30 maybe sessions of middle to high, and something like 50 little sessions of altered states. And of course 3 sessions is nothing, for me at least. maybe I'm a fool, maybe I do something wrong way or something. And for other people who I know all around, at least for those years, for the year that I've been living here in India and met like a lot of people from all around. Of course, 3 sessions is, nobody even kind of discusses it so seriously. Like, did you really get the like total relief in 3 sessions? Nobody even asks like that. People talk about like 50, 100, 500 trips, and it's like the real business we're talking about. So 3 sessions, out of them 1 is, for example, like strong and 2 like middle. I don't know how they do it, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like very serious, but for sure, if we are talking about just like comparison with classic therapy or something, of course they give, like compared to those therapies, of course they give a lot of stuff. This just 3-5 sessions, they give a lot. But to say they really heal like totally or something, it depends, and it's very hard to generalize. But yeah, we need to detail like way more to really explore the topic. So to say simply, for me, it's questionable and needs to be explored more.
Thanks. Long answer.
Yeah. I mean, I was in therapy for 10 years, for example. Something like 10 years. And I was like suffering. Maybe it's good to share my path so that people know like what kind of suffering I had. It will be more objective in a way. Yeah. If people know I suffered this much and I've done this much of therapy, like that, it's like ideal thing, but I don't think we will talk a lot about this now. So anyway, just subjectively, out from those years, only when I probably started building my systems of therapy, like very complex system that encompasses everything, spiritual, classic therapy, body-oriented or altered states. Only then I really felt like now it starts to work like properly. I mean, of course it works. It was working even from the first session of anything, but we're talking about the speed or power of working of therapy. Of course it was working, but the main thing from classic therapy is little steps, is like their like very basic thing, concept is about little steps, so it works with very tiny steps. Sometimes it works like as a kind of breakthrough, so also it's hard to generalize, but overall it was working for me not enough. And of course, if we take like classic setting and way of how they do classic therapy, they're like, well, if you are not like dying and suiciding, you do like 1 hour per week and it's like normal. Or, well, if you are like hard, probably 2 hours per week can fit. Of course, only with one therapist. So it's like so fucking dangerous, they say. I was spending like probably in 1 week, it could be somewhere around 20 to 40 hours of many therapeutical activities. And even all that was not serious in a way that if it was just classic stuff, well, I started doing body-oriented and it's like at least something. So it would be like 40 hours of just talking and thinking and journaling, it's not serious. Even 40 hours of that, it's not serious. It doesn't give you the access to those really deep stuff so much, because we're talking about the very surface level of consciousness, and I cannot like devaluate it like totally, because it gives something. But if we talk about some comparison and effectiveness of other, then it's kind of like very limited, or I can say it's weak. Even 40 hours, or you can tell any number, it will still be weak if a person wanna kind of figure out what is his path, what are her first steps or something, how to figure out your direction. Should you start from classics or something? So I think like maybe it depends on qualities or needs of a person. Probably in general, probably we will consider more of people who have some budget limitations, and maybe we will discuss a bit more about how to provide enough therapy for those who have. So one idea is self-work, and like basically you can study a lot by yourself or in group settings, like so you can read books, you can watch anything, and we have like a lot of resources online, free or stuff like that, like really a lot. So we have all the self-work and all the budget methods that a person probably should do before getting into more expensive therapy, and especially into altered states. So basically, before getting into altered states, it's very nice to study classic therapy, body-oriented, and meditation, yoga and everything like that, just to get the alphabet of his like being, of his consciousness, of his body-mind connection. It's like alphabet, and you have to know it to get into like real stuff before getting into real stuff that opens in altered states. And before you get into individual therapy, be it classic or body-oriented, they charge pretty much. So like for 1 hour, they will charge, let's say, in big cities or Europe, America or somewhere like that, will be like $60 to $150 to $200 or euro, something. So of course you can read something. There are like very useful, nice books about classic therapy that are like essential. You just must read, and there are like little of them. You just read them. One book is like 8 hours. You just spend your 8 hours. You just walk around. You have your something, I don't know, holidays, anything. Just get out of your social environment, go to the forest and listen to the book.
Do you have a list of books that
Of
maybe
course.
I can put in?
Of course, I have all.
Okay.
So,
Nice. So I will put it in the show notes.
yeah.
Nice.
So there is Irvin Yalom, and he's like classic, like Jesus of classic therapy. And there is Gestalt, also should be humanistic, existential, probably, I don't remember. And there is Naranjo. Naranjo is I think my number 1 or 2, because my number 1 or 2 are Graf, Stan Graf and Naranjo. They both are crazy, they are gods, they've done classic, body-oriented, altered states, and meditation and spiritual traditions. It's like a serious approach. So if you are choosing a book or any resource, of course the market is full of bullshit, so everybody tries to write his book, obviously, and maybe I shouldn't criticize so much, but anyway, yeah, to get it a bit shorter. There are books and there are other resources and there are practices that you can do, like different kinds of techniques of journaling. You can do like many kinds of techniques of journaling. Or if you study any of those books and you study different mechanisms of how psyche works, emotions and stuff and everything, connections between mind and emotions and thoughts and everything, then you do just normal journaling, but you really incorporate all the stuff there. So you really work with your stuff that you read there in the book. You work with it in journaling, so it's another type of journaling. It's like educative journaling or something, I don't know what you call it. So basically, to make this story shorter, we have the self-preparation that you can do, and it's cool if you do. Or otherwise you can try something, you can try doing a couple of this and that individual stuff, and simultaneously you start doing your self-work. Also works fine because it's nice to have some individual recommendations that your specialist will give you, because I mean it's hard to really navigate the whole market of all those trainings, courses and books. It's a mess. It's the most messy market, I think, over there. Yeah, we were talking about how to choose your approach. So basically you try classic therapy for some time, and you simultaneously can try body-oriented therapy, and of course you can try groups, trainings or therapy groups or anything, because it just takes like way less money, I think, at least in our country, and you will like really feel a lot from then, and you will find your team of people that you walk on the path together, and it's essential. So yeah, and then you will figure out like what you like, what works better, to be like more precise, and yeah, I think like that. And then you get into altered states at some point, probably. So the idea is that the system is not so easy at first. Like when I tell all of this stuff, it can be like quite confusing. I think for many it could be. So building these individual systems is one of my favorite things for people. Just build individual systems in individual therapy or in group therapy. Anywhere we can try to do it. And we built something that is kind of like retreat program for them, depending on their level of trauma or neurosis or heaviness of the state. We built for them this kind of like retreat. It can be like 50% retreat, it can be like 100% like full-scale retreat. So yeah, it will incorporate all of that stuff together in some step-by-step style. Yeah. So systematic approach is like really kinda in a way essential, because I mean one of the main mistakes of people on the path is to like people want to solve their stuff fast and easy, and just take a bit from there, take a bit from YouTube, take a bit from Instagram, ask somebody and like solve the shit. If that works, it's like cool, congratulations. Otherwise, for some people, like the main secret of success is like to really like work systematically and hard, and that's all. This is like the magic pillow. You just should work hard, serious, systematically, and like that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I, for example, like with you, that I feel that you are in many parts very stable, so that I can really feel, okay, there's something behind, and I cannot easily make like this and then you're falling down, like many
Who
people
knows?
would.
No,
Many
I'm not that
people-
stable.
No.
No.
In parts maybe not, but in many ways, let me tell you that you're much more stable than most people. Yeah, it's just
I'm
what
not
I
sure.
experience. That usually I have more influence, and I would say it's not good. Yeah.
I'm thinking about this kind of onboarding courses for people, like when somebody really gets into the market and wanna try something. It's good if there are like orienting courses or resources that are not very demanding or time consuming. And somebody probably do it, I haven't googled yet. Definitely I'm doing this kind of course for my people.
Nice idea.
And
So to give an orientation in the whole jungle of options,
in a way, and
and also maybe to find oneself. So what fits to me
in a way,
would help me.
and it's kind of individual because some traits of people are like so crucial that like I need to know some parts of personality or something to really orient a person, or situations can be like really pretty individual in a way, but still in general, still you can do like general kind of course and then like individual parts of courses. But make it honest. I don't feel much honesty in our industry, and I think it's very business oriented and money oriented, and they don't say bad things about other therapists because of, I don't know, being polite or just don't want to fight or something. And in a way the whole industry is very subjective, so I mean it's very messy industry overall. So yeah, the question is not very easy, but my dream is, and I think for some people I can provide this kind of course or orientation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the interview. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please give me a thumb up and write into my comments and go in contact with me. Go in contact with Michael, of course. I wrote his contact in the show notes and also the list of books he would recommend. And yeah, I wish you a good journey with whatever you're dealing with, and yeah, that you really find the right solution and that life gives you help. Goodbye and see you in the next video. Ja, jetzt sind wir am Ende dieser Reise, in die Michael uns mitgenommen hat, und ich hoffe, dass du was für dich daraus mitnehmen konntest, dass du ein besseres Gefühl bekommen konntest, was es gibt und wie du mit den Dingen umgehen kannst. Und wenn dir das Video gefallen hat und wenn es dir geholfen hat, dann freue ich mich natürlich, wenn du meinen Kanal abonnieren möchtest, wenn du mir einen Daumen nach oben geben möchtest. Und genau, ich habe in die Shownotes geschrieben, den Kontakt von Michael, auch die Bücherliste, die er empfohlen hat, Und genau, dort kannst du mit ihm in Kontakt gehen, wenn du das Gefühl hast, dass er eine gute Begleitung vielleicht wäre oder ja, du einfach so mit ihm in Kontakt gehen möchtest. Und meine Kontaktdaten findest du natürlich auch in den Shownotes. Und genau, ich wünsche dir eine gute Lebensreise und wünsche dir jetzt halt einfach alles Gute und ja, freue mich, dich bald wiederzusehen. Bis bald, aho!